Hi everyone, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. Today we are back on the Westfield and it is going to be the last episode that I've got planned on the Westfield. We are going to go through all the little finishing bits and bobs I want to do on it, get it all sorted out how I want it to be, and hopefully it will be good to go for a good while as far as summer blasts. Well, I want to say wind in the hair, but I can't say that. As you can see, we have now got a roof on it. You'll see that in a second, the process I went through to get that sorted out. I want to say waterproof. Yeah, it's not really waterproof, it's shower proof, shall we say. So at least you're not going to get absolutely drowned. I don't think these were quite built for British manky weather. So anyway, that's by the by. At least it's got a roof now, so should you need it, it's going to be there. So that's the main thing. So without further ado, let's crack on and get some work done. Right, next job on the Westfield is to sort out the roof, because obviously it's great in the dry at the moment, but if it starts pouring rain, you're going to need some protection. Now obviously you don't get a lot. There are the doors over there, as you can see, and there's the roof. Now it's all in good condition, needs a really good clean, but the only bit that's broken is this bit. Now this trim goes on the windscreen like that, and it's supposed to have a little slot in the back of it there, which hooks over that bolt. So you click it on, and obviously this bit should be attached to the inside of the roof. Obviously half of it's missing and it's not attached to the inside of the roof anymore. So luckily enough, I've got a new one from Westfield, and you can see it's got the little notch in it there, which you put on to the windscreen. I can get it to fit over while I'm holding the camera like that, and it slides sideways and locks in. And that is how the front of your roof obviously fixed on. And there's a couple of poppers here as well. So obviously I need to get this glued onto the inside of the roof. Before that, I need to get that roof cleaned up because it is disgusting and it smells like a tent. So I'm going to get this out in the garden, get it all laid out, get the jet wash set up and give it a real good clean. While it's nice weather, we'll hang it on the line after, let it dry out, and then we can start looking at refixing that trim back on the inside of it so we can actually use it. I'll come back to you in a minute. Right here, as you can see, I've got the roof laid out on the ground. It is quite dirty inside. There's a little bit of mould on it and stuff like that. So I'm going to get this soaked down with the G101 cleaner, and then let that soak in for 5 minutes, and then jet wash it and see what it comes out like. And obviously once we've done this side, then we'll flip it over and do the other side as well. In fact, I may just do the inside for now, because I can do the outside when it's on the car. Because otherwise, if I lay that side on the ground with it still wet, it's gonna have all the dirt stick to it, which is obviously not a good idea. So we'll just get the inside clean for now. We'll worry about the outside once it's on the car. Let's carry on. Right, as you can see, that is a massive improvement. It's now white again, or thereabouts. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give it, now it's wet, I'm going to give it another coat of the G101, and I'm going to use a scrubbing brush on it just to try and get any more of the stains out as much as I can. Obviously then jet wash it again, get it as best we can, and then obviously hang it on the line to dry. It's a lovely sunny day today, so it shouldn't take too long hopefully. Let's carry on. There we go, hanging on the line, drip drying. That is a marked improvement on what it was. It's not perfect, but it's really a lot cleaner. It was really black inside, so at least it's a nicer place to sit with it above your head now. So I'll let that drip dry. I'll move it around a couple of times so it dries properly, and then we can get on to gluing that plastic trim back in. You can see there's like a flap on the front of the roof, which it looks like it glues underneath. It's got all like Evo stick glue on there, which I'll have to obviously scrape that off to glue the new stuff on, but that shouldn't be a problem. So I've got some Evo stick contact adhesive in the garage, so we can replace what was there basically. Got quite a big tin of it as well, luckily, so that's quite handy. I haven't got to buy anything to sort that out, so that's good. All helps. Let's carry on. Rightio, it is the next day, and as you can see, the roof is now dry and looking even brighter, dare I say it. It's really come out nice, so that is well good. I'm well chuffed about that. So next thing I've got to do is supposed to have poppers on each corner at the front, which are missing, and they go on the screen here on either side. So you've got a little stud there, and actually this side's got a screw in it, which is not right. So I've actually got a packet of new press studs to go on. Obviously I don't need them all, but I'm going to change both the ones on the screen just so they're new. This one's actually riveted in, but these ones are screwing ones. They've got like a posi drive in the end of them, so you just screw them in. Obviously that one over there is just a screw, so that'll be fine. We'll screw a new one in there. That will sort out that side of things. Then we've got to put the new press studs on the edge of the roof, so there's one on either corner, and then that will allow us to obviously see how it fits on the car as far as the positioning and where the plastic trim has got to glue onto along the top of the screen, or not on the screen but on the roof I should say, that fits on the top of the screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably get these two studs fitted, drilled out. Don't necessarily need to drill this one out really, but it's just the fact that I've got new ones and it's going to look a bit funny with one shiny one and one not shiny one, so I'll probably do two, change those over, and then we'll go over to putting the studs on the roof and then put it on and see how it fits. Let's carry on. Right, as usual, nothing's ever simple. Change plans on this a bit. I'm going to leave this one in the screen because there's nothing wrong with it and it's fine. Mainly because of the grief I'm having with this one. Now this one obviously has had this screw put in it, and that was actually bottoming out on the back side of the screen, so it has put a little indent in it. So I ground the end off the new one in the thought that it would sit nice and flat. Problem is the screw that's been jammed in the hole is bigger than the stud. So the next plan I've come up with is I'm going to cut the screw off the back of this. I'm then going to drill through the middle of it so it leaves some of the screw there, obviously because that's part of the stud, and I'm actually going to try and rivet that on the same as what this side would be, because obviously that will then fill up the hole that's been made by the bigger screw. That is the plan, so I'll come back to you when I've had a bit more progress. Right, there we go. That is that stud in that side. It was an absolute pain. I ended up having to drill the hole out and put a little riv nut in there, and then use a self tapper and a riv nut, which isn't ideal, but it's worked, so that's the main thing. So that is in there. I'm going to leave that one well alone because that was enough of a pain as it is. So now we're going to move on to the roof and get the stud falling over, get the studs put in. You can see there's like a little cut there, which is where it's supposed to be. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to go with trying to put it in that same hole again or making a different hole, because obviously I don't want it to split again, that's anything. It may be that I have to put a washer underneath it to obviously bridge the gap. Maybe I'll have to have a little look at that and see. I'll come back to you in a minute. Rightio, I spared you me struggling with this roof for the last 10 minutes but I have got it on there, as you can see. Now I've put the new poppers in the front, they're on. Unfortunately, obviously where the old holes were, there is a little bit of a gape, but there's not much I can do about that. I've put them right in the corner where there's an extra stitch, so hopefully it won't rip again. And I've actually also got the plastic piece in here as well, just temporarily fitted. You can see it inside there, and the headliner looks really nice and white. Look at that, lovely, a lot nicer than it was. It don't smell like an old tent anymore, so that's good. So yeah, I was just sort of test fitting this to see how it went on and where it's supposed to glue. Now I've worked that out, that little flap on the roof actually goes up inside the plastic bit. Obviously then I can now pop that back off again and obviously get it glued up, and hopefully we should be good to go. The roof is really tight, obviously because it hasn't been fitted properly for a long time with that front bit on. going to take a little while to obviously leave it. I'll leave it on there and maybe put it out in the sun, sort of once it's glued or whatever, so that it will hopefully give a little bit and won't be so quite so taut. But it is fitting nice. There's no rips or tears in it. Rear screen wants a damn good clean. Remember, we have only cleaned the inside so far, so the outside is still as it was. We can do that on the car obviously once it's all glued up. I didn't want to lay that nice white headliner on the ground and do the top on the floor, so that's looking really good. Really chuffed with that. So next step is to take that back off again, and then we can get that front section glued into place, and hopefully that will be a roof on, because if I get caught out in the rain, it's not going to be a good day. Let's crack on. Rightio, as you can see, I've got the roof laid back on itself now. Now this plastic bit, the flap on the roof, fits inside it like that, so it's going to stick to the inside of that groove. So what I'm going to use is the old Evo stick contact adhesive. So that will obviously be applied to both sides, and you leave it to go tacky, and then obviously stick it down together, and that should do the job nicely. You can see the poppers I've done here. These basically are in two halves, and you basically just hammer the inside over itself to create the popper on there, so that is a pretty easy thing to do. I'm going to get this glue applied. As I say, what I'll do, I'll put some on the inside of here and on the underside of here. We'll do it in two stages, so we'll glue this bit first, and once that's glued in, I can then sort of flip it on itself and glue this back side. Actually no, I don't know whether I'm supposed to glue that bit or not. I'll check that out, but I may put a bit of glue on this back side as well, so that it's got some extra in there to obviously hold it. That is the plan. Let's get some of this glue on there and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, now the roof is all sorted, I've turned my attention to making things looking a bit prettier. Now you'll see here, I've actually used some, I'll show you in a second, but look at those headlights, how shiny they've come up. They're not perfect, they've still got some little pits in them. You can see me in the reflection, hello. But they're really good compared to what they were. They're all brown before. And the stuff I've used is this. It's actually steel wool, but it's specifically quad 0 steel wool, which is the finest grade they do. So it's really fine stuff, but it brings up chrome really well. And I've had a go at these suspension arms as well. Look, you can see in there, they've come out really nice. I mean, as I say, they're not perfect. They have got a little bit of rust on them here and there, but they look a lot shinier, and same with that headlight support as well. Come out a lot shinier than what they were before, which is absolutely great. If I just show you the other side, you can see in there how dull they were and brown. They've really brought the shine out. You see that one's really brown under there. So hopefully I'll be able to do this side as well and bring that back a little bit as well. So that is what I've been doing. I'll get that wheel turned around on the other side and I'll show you it in action to show you what it does. It doesn't take very long. And also what I want to do, you can see I've just done a little test patch on this alley upright for the windscreen. It's all a bit corroded and I've gone over it with that steel wool and it's brought out quite nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over it with that, and then I'm going to go over it with some metal polish and see if I can get a nice shine back on them again. That'll look really nice then too. Probably have a go at these wiper arms as well. Actually they're not too bad, but we'll give them a quick go over with some polish or something. Top banana, let's carry on. Rightio, I just thought I'd give you a little go of this steel wool in action. This is obviously the other side now. Now I've not got anything on this, this is just dry. You can also use it with metal polish, that works quite well too, but we'll just see what it comes out. I'll dry for now. Look at that, 2 seconds and it's coming up with a shine. Look. So hopefully it should come up as well as the other side has. It's a damn sight better than it was anyway. Box has just blown over in the wind. It doesn't take a lot with this stuff, it's really good. I've not used it before. I mean obviously I've used wire wool before, but I've not used this quad 0 stuff. It's ultra fine. You can see the shine on that now. It's coming up really well. So I'm going to get the rest of this side done just like that, and then we can carry on to the next job. Let's carry on. There we go. It's by no means perfect, but it is a lot shinier than what it was beforehand. You can see under there as well. I've done under the back there. That lower bar was all nice and clean. I'm not sure I'm going to do that flat bit yet because that's a bit rusty. The upper bar is all nice and clean. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go too mad with it. Nice and clean and honest. Top banana. Right, as you can see now, we have moved on to the back suspension, and I want to try and tidy up these control arms upper and lower. They're a bit crusty and manky, and I want to take them off and wire brush them up and give them a coat of paint. Now that would be easy if it wasn't for the fact that whoever originally built the car put this bolt in facing that way, which means you can't get it out unless you take the fuel tank out, and I don't really want to be getting involved with taking the fuel tank out. So I've got to work out how I'm going to do that. I think what I'm going to try and do is take the nut off the end, cut the head off this end, and then pull the bolt out, what's left of it, through this way, and then when I put it back on, I'll put the bolt back through the other way. It shouldn't make any difference to anything as far as which way the bolt goes. So that is the plan on that one. Now the only other issue I'm going to have is on this lower one over here. Let me I can zoom in on there for you. You can just about see there's actually a hole through the back of the body to get to the head of that one. So I'm hoping if I move the passenger seat forward, I might be able to get in there and get to the back of that one without too much issue. That is any other one. The other ones should be okay. So I'm going to start unbolting stuff, see how we get on, and go from there. I'm not going for mega concourse, I'm just going to give them a coat of paint to keep them protected, stop them rusting anymore. Let's crack on. Rightio, this has fault me all the way. Now you can see I've got the top arm off there, the bottom arm is standing up there, but this one, this rose joint on here, which is the easiest one to get to, has fault me every single step of the way, to the point where I've had to drill that bolt out inside, and I've now got this bit left to get out of the actual hub itself, which is going to be not that easy. I'll get that washer off of there, and I'm left with that that bit of bolt that's left. Now that was the last one. It's the easiest one to get to, and it's taken me the longest, so that's an absolute pain, but we are there at least, so I can get these arms rubbed down and painted, and then I can come back and have a go at this to see if I can get this out. That's going to be the next job. It may be that I have to drill the whole thing out, but yeah, we'll see. So absolute pain. Wish I'd never started this job, but there we go, we're here now, so let's carry on. Right, as you can see there, this fought me all the way. The last bolt was this one here. I finally got it out. It took an absolute age, but it's out, and I haven't damaged the knuckle, so that's great. As you can see there's the hole still round. So we've got the two arms out on the driveway now. Just show you here, they are pretty manky, as we saw on the car. So I'm going to give these a good old wire brush up with the old grinder and clean them up, and then we can give them a coat of paint overnight. Let's crack on. Right, there we are. Those two arms all rubbed back with a wire brush. They're not absolutely perfect, but they're a hell of a lot better than they were. So I'm going to mask up these rose joints and probably the ends of the bushes on here as well, just so they don't get paint all in them. And we'll give it some couple of coats of the old hammerite, which is direct to metal and direct to rust paint, so that should protect it nice, hopefully. Give it a nice finish. Let's carry on. Right, with the rear suspension arms looking absolutely marvellous, we now turn our attention to this drive shaft. Now I don't want to be stripping the whole thing down, there's no need for that. I just want to make it look a bit more tidy. So what I'm going to do is get the old wire brush on here. I just want to paint this middle section. I'm not going to take the boots off or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with these boots, they're absolutely fine. Need a bit of a clean, but they're fine. Now the one worrying thing is I wasn't taking the drive shaft out because I thought I'm going to have oil everywhere. Well, that actually just fell out on me, so I didn't pull it very hard, and more to the point, there's no oil leaking out of there, which means you can see it's very wet around that. I'm wondering if it's got a bit of a leak and it's not at the level it should be. Either that or it is at the level it should be, and that's just how it is. I don't know, but I'm going to check that and make sure that the level is correct in the diff before we put it all back, or when we put it all back together, because obviously I don't want to be running it without any oil in the diff. So yeah, that is the plan. While the suspension arms are drying, we'll get this section rubbed back, give it a coat of the old hammerite again. Say this is not absolutely necessary, but I just want to make it look a bit tidier. So let's crack on and get that done. Right, with that drive shaft obviously now painted and drying, we're going to turn our attention to this while we're at this side of the car. This obviously is an aluminium sort of upstand for the screen, and it is all gone horrible and pitted. So what I'm going to use is the old triple quad zero steel wool, but with some metal polish also, so I've got here, and we're going to give it a whirl and see if we can get this looking a bit better, because I don't like the dull finish, it's not ideal. So if we give it a go over this, hopefully we'll give it a nice shine up. Now I'll just do one section for a second, and then we'll see in comparison what it comes up like. Shouldn't take too much. I find with this, the metal polish really helps this wire wall. And look at that. It's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better. So I want to go over the whole thing like that, get that all polished up. I've already started the other side. And hopefully look marvellous again. Let's carry on. So there we go, that has come up really nice actually. Not perfect, but it's nice and smooth now at least, and it's shiny, so that is always a plus. Backside's the same as well, not too bad in there either. Question is, will that exhaust shield come up the same way? That's what I'm curious to know, so I might have a go at that next and see how we get on. Well, to say I'm chuffed with that exhaust heat shield would be an understatement. That has come up really well. I went over it with the steel wire wall as I did with the A-pillars, and I've also just run over it with an old polishing head on the mop, and it's come up really nice. So that is super duper good. So now you can see the drive shaft sitting there, that is now dry, as are the lower arms. So we're going to start reassembling this corner of the rear suspension, and then we can move on to the other side. Let's crack on. Rightio, as you can see there, that is the freshly painted lower arm back in. Now it's not bolted up tight yet, but it's just in there. And you'll also see that I've spent a bit of time and I've got this rose joint all nice and greased and free moving again, because that was absolutely sea solid before. So that is all good as well. So now that's in, as I say, it's only 2 bolts at the back at the moment. I want to get the drive shaft and knuckle back in. I've given that little area on the gear, on the axle, a clean up as well with some brake clean, just to make that look a bit better. And yeah, so it's coming along nicely. Now I'm waiting on a couple of bolts that I actually obviously had to cut, which was this one down here and that one up there. They're actually UNF bolts, so I've ordered those. They should be here today hopefully, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get this corner back together today with any luck. But I'm just putting the bits I can back on now, and obviously once the bolts arrive, then I can put the new bolts in as well. So that is top banana. Let's carry on. Rightio, there we have it. That is one side all bolted back down, or bolted back in I should say. Now what I've done, actually, you can see here, I've got on this a bit of I-beam. I've actually got the car on this. It's not, the jack's still under it, but it's not on the jack, it's on this, which is resting on the bottom of the hub under there. And that is because I wanted to get the car at normal ride height before I tightened up all the bolts on the bushes, so that there's no stress on them when they're in their normal position. So they are all done up with the car at ride height or thereabouts, if that makes sense. So hopefully that should put less stress on the bushes, and that should make them last a bit longer with any luck. I think those arms have come out pretty well under there. They look nice and tidy. Not perfect, but I would say I wasn't going for perfect, just wanted to tidy them up. I think it really makes the rear end look a lot better. I'll show you from underneath there as well, you can see looks a lot tidier. The drive shaft's obviously done as well. So now we've got to do the whole thing again on the other side. Whoop-de-doo. Let's carry on. Just thought I'd do a little comparison shot. Now I've got the car turned around before to after. So that is obviously the other side that we haven't done yet. Looking pretty crusty. not very nice. And that is the side we've done, which I think is a massive improvement. Now if you're wondering, that's Hammerite smooth spray paint I've used on that, which you can put directly onto metal or rust. I mean, obviously I got rid of most of the rust off of it with a wire brush, so it was basically clean metal, but obviously I used it as directed. So yeah, that is a massive improvement. You can see the top arm up there looks nice and shiny as well. I've rerouted all the cables as they were as such, so hopefully that should be all good. Should be good for a good few years, hopefully. Right, let's get this driver's side off and give it the same treatment. Rightio, as you can see, it's more of the same on this side. In fact, I think even this side possibly is a bit worse. Still perfectly savable, but obviously we're going to need to give these a good old clean up with a wire brush and the grinder now. Same with the drive shaft, that's sitting on the floor there as well. That is ready to be wire brushed back and obviously painted too. So that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to crack on and get these cleaned up, get them all masked, painted, and then hopefully overnight they'll dry, well, they will dry overnight, and we can get them put back on ASAP. Top banana. There we go. As you can see there now, I've got the rear hub resting on that bit of I-beam again to get the ride height before I tighten up all the nuts and bolts. They are all now back on there. As you can see, the arms are looking a hell of a lot better. You can see the top arm just about up there, and the drive shaft. That all looks absolutely superb. There was nothing wrong with these components, they just looked a bit ropey. The appearance wasn't very nice, so I've just basically given them a little refurb, just so when you look under the back of the car it doesn't look all manky. The bushes were all fine, the rose joints are all fine, obviously the drive shaft and CV joints are all fine. So that is another job off the list. Top banana. Finishing touch. Top banana. Right then, What do you think of that? As you can see, I've come over to my local park to do some beauty shots for you. And it is looking absolutely mega. I've given it another polish and like a nice cut of wax now as well. So the bodywork is like glass now. It's absolutely superb. It all drives really nice. Obviously we've done that refurb on the rear suspension arms. They're looking really good now too. And it's waterproof, which is obviously absolutely great, because if you get caught out in the good old British weather, like you know you will, you're going to need a roof. So at least that's done now too. This is going to be the finale of the Westfield series. There's not going to be any more videos. I've not planned any more videos on it, at least for now. We've basically done everything I want to do to it at the moment. So yeah, this is the final episode on the Westfield. Now if you do like what you see and you want to see more projects like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there, and obviously ring the little notification bell. That will tell you every time I upload a video. I have got Instagram MEC_TEC1985, and I have got Facebook MEC-TEC for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, projects, mechanical mayhem, all that sort of thing, then make sure you tune in again next time. Cheers guys.